One of my most famous things people attack me for is their little quote is they say, you said depression isn't real. What about the man who kills themselves? You don't care about men's mental health. We've already discussed how I care more about men's mental health than these people who fucking pretend they do. That's the first thing. I didn't say depression isn't real. I said feeling depressed is real. But the idea that depression is going to strike you in your mind and there's nothing you can do about it, I think that is promoting helplessness amongst depressed people, and that's the reason they kill themselves.
Andrew Tate's comments on depression hit the internet harder than a right hook to a glass jaw. But before you jump into the octagon of this mental health debate, let's analyze his claims. I'm going to share raw, controversial wisdom straight from Andrew that will restructure how you view your mental struggles. You'll discover how to alchemize feelings of sadness and emptiness into pure motivation and forward momentum. This is an absolutely must-watch if you want to trade purposeless drudgery for an unstoppable zest for conquering life full force.
They tell you that depression is a disease that you can catch from the sky no matter how fantastic your life is, and you have no control over it. And I argue that absolutely. The reason the Matrix wants you depressed and sad is because when that happens, you are selfish. If you're depressed and sad, you only care about yourself. You don't care about your community or your family. You don't care about the world. You do not stand up for anything. You will accept being fucked in the ass like True Geordie. You'll accept any amount of garbage that they want to give you, any Matrix slave mind programming, because you are too busy being sad to resist. This is why they tell you that when you are depressed, it is a disease. It is not a disease.
Depression is not a disease in the traditional sense. It's not something you arbitrarily catch through no fault of your own like the flu or cancer. Depression is a state of being that you have way more control over than you've been led to believe. It's an internal experience directly shaped by your mindset, habits, and life circumstances. The biggest problem is we've been culturally conditioned to see depression as this big scary monster completely separate from our own agency. But this is an incredibly disempowering frame, because the truth is, depression is your psyche's raw internal signal that your current reality and lifestyle are severely out of alignment with how you want to feel. Which brings us to the next point.
You're depressed because your reality is depressing. The truth is, if I lived the reality that most of these depressed people live, I'd be depressed. Your reality is depressing.
If you wake up every morning to a sexless marriage, a job you despise, dead up to your eyeballs, and zero fulfilling hobbies or social outlets, of course you're going to be overwhelmed by feelings of emptiness, sadness, and hopelessness. The problem arises when you falsely believe your depressive state is solely caused by random brain chemistry, instead of realizing it's your mind's natural response to living inside a depressing reality full of soul-crushing situations. By taking full responsibility for how your actual day-to-day existence makes you feel, you regain your power. You realize your depression isn't this illogically inflicted curse, but the predictable effect of your life's causes. And unlike brain chemistry, your outer reality is something you can 100% change through the choices and actions you take each day. You're not a helpless victim to your circumstances. Do you feel trapped in an oppressive 9-to-5 grind? Upskill and escape it. Relationship making you miserable. Have the tough conversations or walk away. No hobbies or social outlets. Join clubs. Take classes. Get new interests. Wake up and look around. If your reality is filled with depressing situations, start overhauling that shit.
Take all of that depression and convert it into unlimited energy to fix your life. Energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be converted. Take the depression and turn it into motivation. And all of a sudden, you'll see how fantastic your life is.
Instead of letting depressive feelings become a self-perpetuating cycle of apathy and despair, Tate suggests that we metabolize that emotional lead into rocket fuel for massive change. Think about it. Depression doesn't arise because your life is perfect. It's a blazing red flag that aspects of your current reality have gone drastically off the rails in ways that wound your spirit. Rather than wallowing as that anguish consumes you, you can consciously decide to allow it to expose all the areas of your life that require urgent upgrades and course corrections.
If you do not believe in depression, you will cure most of your own problems. It is the belief in the ghost which punishes him, not the ghost itself.
Your beliefs shape your reality in ways most people drastically underestimate. The metaphor here is crystal clear. Depression only holds as much power over you as you choose to believe should. It's not some concrete, inescapable specter haunting you. Your belief that depression is an unbeatable condition legitimizes and reinforces its grip. But stripping that belief away disarms depression of its perceived omnipotence. After all, placebos designed to be inert pills still provoke wildly impressive results in medical trials solely because participants believe they're taking real medication. Their belief quite literally shapes their biological reality. The same principle applies to your psychological reality. If you continuously tell yourself depression is this terminal, incurable life sentence, you'll unconsciously start viewing it as such. Those thought patterns will become self-fulfilling prophecies.
When I say this, depressed people send me long emails trying to convince me I'm wrong. Why the fuck would I want to think like you when you don't want to live? Why would I want to think like you when you want to kill yourself and I'm perfectly fine? Adopting the thinking of somebody who doesn't want to live anymore is probably the most stupid, asinine, inane, childish, ridiculous thing a functioning adult can do.
Tate has dismissed this notion countless times. If you're depressed, I don't want to think anything like you. I don't take your opinion. I don't get it. His stance is uncompromising. Don't pollute your mind with the warped perspectives of those trapped in a depressive state. It's akin to seeking career advice from someone who quit their job, an exercise in futility. This tough love approach may seem harsh, but it's backed by research on cognitive distortions in depression. Depressive thoughts involve mental filters that exaggerate the negative, discount the positive, and promote a sense of hopelessness. Listening to this distorted mindset can perpetuate the cycle. The famous mindset study demonstrated how differing beliefs created vastly different realities. When faced with a challenging noise, those who didn't believe in ghosts remained rational, while those convinced ghosts existed became irrational and fearful.
My mind is my ally, all the way down to my feet, my fingers. Every single part of me is absolutely and utterly on the same team. We are a united front against the enemies of freedom.
Tate doesn't view the mind as a fickle, unreliable entity, prone to sabotage. Instead, he sees it as a powerful ally in the fight against anything that disempowers or limits human potential. How can I have my own mind betray and tell me that I can't do something? About the side of life unlocking a diet, I am not going to die. My own mind will not betray me. This unshakable trust in one's mind is the antithesis of the common narrative that depression is a malfunction or imbalance in the brain chemistry working against you. Tate rejects this disempowering view wholeheartedly. Research in sports psychology has shown elite athletes' ability to view the mind as an unwavering teammate is key to peak performance. Swimming legend Michael Phelps said, "I am my mind," no separation between himself and his thoughts. This self-belief allowed him to achieve the seemingly impossible. Like a top athlete, Tate sees no division between his consciousness and physicality. They are one united force aligned towards his objectives. There's no alien mind that can undermine his mission. Perhaps I'm wrong, but I believe that I stand a better chance of survival if I will survive, as opposed to thinking I will certainly die. By trusting his mind as an ally geared for survival rather than surrendering to fatalistic thoughts, Tate opens the door to triumphing over any adversity life presents. Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications to never miss our content that upgrades your life.